Hello and welcome to Gazzetta Football Korea, your beginner's guide podcast all about South Korean football. I'm your host, Martin Jones. With me today are Korean football experts Heo Yumi and Tom Clark. We'll be looking back at all the matches from Gameweek 5. Plenty of goals this weekend, not least in Saturday's big clashes between FC Seoul and Jeonbuk, and Pohang Steelers against Ulsan Hyundai in the East Coast Derby. We'll be across all of that. Late goals as well for Daegu and Gwangju. Yes, I said Gwangju. We'll also be looking forward to Game Week 6 and the relegation six-pointer between aforementioned Gwangju and Busan I-Park. Okay, let's crack on with our Game Week 5 recap. The game we picked out last week as the big game of the weekend was the Saturday 11 a.m. game between Pohang Steelers and Ulsan Hyundai, the East Coast Derby, aka the Donghaean Derby. Did I pronounce that right? Probably not.
Donghaean,
okay. We've looked at these two teams quite a bit this season, only 34 miles apart down in the southeast corner of the Korean peninsula. So that's about the same distance as between Liverpool and Manchester, just for a bit of context. Historically, this has been quite an even fixture over the years. The last few seasons, Ulsan have had the upper hand. In 2019, however, they met 4 times, Ulsan getting 1 win, Pohang 3 wins, including a 4-1 victory on the final day of last season, which is a game that will go down in K-League folklore for its sheer madness. Only 2 draws in the last 5 years, so there are usually goals in this game. Before we get onto that encounter from last season, just as a bit of broader context, is this the biggest derby in Korea?
No, it's not. It's one of them, but no, the biggest is Suwon VFC Seoul, and 2 huge cities right next to each other. And FC Seoul were originally called the LG Cheetahs, and they were based in Anyang, which is even closer to Suwon than Seoul is. It's there, on each other's doorsteps. But it's also not called a derby in Korea. They call them a super match. And so whenever FC Seoul v Suwon play, that's when you get these huge World Cup stadiums absolutely sold out, cracking atmosphere. Everyone's out to watch the super match.
I would say Ulsan Pohang is one of the biggest, but still the biggest would be Suwon FC Seoul, even though they're not like title contenders anymore like they used to be. But still that would be like the super match that everybody looking for. But Ulsan Pohang is also a big derby in Korea as well.
Good stuff. So last year's game, as I said, that finished 4-1 to Pohang. Tell us what happened in that game and why it was so significant.
I mean, I actually always see Ulsan Pohang as a relatively friendly rivalry. It took a while to get going before it became a big match. I was doing a little bit of reading about it, and it was in the late 90s. Ulsan won a semi-final against Pohang, and that went down to penalties, and that kind of brought out a rivalry between them. But last season, Ulsan needed a point to win the league, and they were at home to Pohang. They're rivals, and they got thumped 4-1, including their goalkeeper taking a throw in straight to the Pohang striker who tapped into an empty net. They lost the league on goals scored. So I saw some things online about yesterday's result was revenge for that. I can't say that's. I don't see that as revenge. Like, revenge is beating them in a cup final or a Champions League game or something. It's a really early season league game. Yeah, it's good to beat your rivals, but it's not comparable.
But still, Yumi, both teams still wanted to win this game, right? Still big for the teams and the players.
Oh, definitely. It would have meant a lot, and especially what happened after the last season. Ulsan would have definitely wanted some kind of revenge. But even though there was, you can't really call it a revenge without like a trophy at the end or something. But still, they would have definitely wanted to win that.
Yeah, I'm sure for the Ulsan players, it was putting some demons to rest. The guys who were involved in that game, and monkey off the back type of thing. And I'm sure they enjoyed the win, but yeah, like 4th game of the season, getting a win, it's 5th game of the season. Sorry, it's not the same as winning the league.
So that was the Saturday 11 a.m. This game kicked off. Pohang were 4th coming into this game, fresh off their 4-goal thumping of Incheon. Ulsan was 2nd, only a point ahead though. having drawn surprisingly with struggling Gwangju last week. We had the league's 2 top goal scorers going up against each other in Junior Negrao and Stanislav Ilyachenko. And unsurprisingly, we also had the 2 most prolific attacks in K1. Ulsan had also seen title rivals Jeonbuk win earlier in the morning in a game which we'll come on to shortly. We thought we'd get goals in this game. We did get goals. We got 4 of them, all for Ulsan.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant result for Ulsan and for their fans. It must have felt like they were in a fairground, like just the pure joy and the exhilaration. Ulsan deserved it. It was 4-0, possibly a little flattering, especially considering the third goal. But yeah, I mean, the third goal was a bit of luck, but Ulsan were the better side. They deserved the win. And yeah, with all due respect to surprise title challengers Songnam and Gangwon, it's Ulsan and Jeonbuk now for the title. It's going to be a 2-horse race. Pohang maybe at the beginning of the season, and even when we spoke to Brandon O'Neill, they thought they were going to give them a race for the title, but Pohang they're not good enough this season. They're not going to be in the for the win to win the league. 3 weeks time is Jeonbuk v Ulsan. That is going to be huge. I'm already looking forward to that one.
Yumi, what did you take away from this one?
It was good to see Lee Chong-yong getting off the mark. He got 2 goals, which is good. He did get an injury that was worrying for the fans, but they've scanned him today, and it shows that it's a minor one. So hopefully it's not a long-term injury, because especially he's had so many injury problems in the past. The Korean fans were worried about that, but it looks like it's a minor one. So that's good. Junio's got another goal, another assist. Looks like he's on course for the Golden Boot. Pohang really didn't show much. I think Ulsan deserved the win for this one.
It's got to be the flukiest assist you can ever imagine he got, and it was the third goal, and he was an awful volley, and it just fell perfectly for Kim In-sun to tap in. But yeah, it goes down as an assist for Junior. I'm sure he gets a nice bit of extra money for an assist bonus as well as his goal bonus. The third and fourth I thought were a bit hard on Pohang, who'd been decent. Yeah, like they lost 4-0. It wasn't a 4-0 thumping, but you lose 4-0 against your biggest rivals. It's not a good look. 7 points for 5 games for Pohang. It's not a good return. They've got 3 big games coming up. Sangju, Jeonbuk and Gangwon. All, Sangju and Gangwon will be their rivals now, I'd say, for those top 6, top 4 positions, and Jeonbuk obviously the league leaders. So tough little spell for the Steelers.
And Yumi, this will have been a bit of a body blow for Pohang. Are we ruling them out of a shot at the title at this stage?
I think it's early to say anything, but at this stage I think it's going to be hard for them to keep in touch with Ulsan and Jeonbuk. I think they're the 2 kind of title racers at the moment.
Good stuff. So that was the East Coast Derby. That finished Pohang Steelers 0, Ulsan Hyundai 4. Pohang dropped to 6th. They'll be looking to bounce back, as Tom said, away at Sangju Sangmu in Gameweek 6. Ulsan back to winning ways after a couple of draws, and they stay 2nd. Let's move on. So Friday 11:30 a.m. UK time, we had Incheon United at home to Gangwon. Incheon were 11th, yet to win. Did finally score a goal last week. Gangwon are 5th, in decent form, fun team to watch. Yumi, Incheon did manage to score another goal, but went down 2-1.
Yeah, I think luck isn't on their side at the moment. I think there was a little bit of hope when they scored first, but it was a brilliant kind of equalizer from Gangwon. I heard the Korean national team manager was there, Paolo Bente. Probably to see Go Muyo, the striker for Gangwon. He's been on good form, so he's probably be there to see Go Muyo. For Incheon, it looks like hard times. Hard times is another relegation battle, and the last manager who had cancer and managed to kind of guide them to safety last season. He was at the game as well, even though he's having his chemotherapy. So I think the Incheon players have that extra motivation to get that win, or at least a point for him, but it didn't work out.
I mean, like Yumi says, the Gangwon's first goal was just brilliant, and I've watched it back so many times now, and it just gets better with each viewing. But what can you say about Incheon? Like I actually thought the first 45 minutes was the best they played this season. It was a decent goal from Kim Ho Nam, really good run and cross to set him up. But then typical Incheon returned, and I know last week I was down on them, but this is why I was down on them, because maybe Gangwon had shaded it and probably just deserved the win, but Incheon had worked so hard to get the point. And what can you do, like, as a manager, when someone, it was Moon Ji-hwan again, second time this season, he just let his team down, he let his fans down, he's let the manager down. There's almost identical foul to what he did against Suwon, and he just pulled a guy down. And I mean, yeah, maybe a little theatrical from the striker, but it's a penalty, and it's idiotic. It's such an incredibly stupid thing to do. You're never going to get away with it, even if the ref doesn't spot it. VAR will, and it was a clear penalty. And then you go on and lose. I feel sorry for Yumi, for the manager, for the rest of his team, because it's the second time he's done it this season, and he's got to be dropped.
Yeah, the problem is, though, they don't have enough players who are good enough to replace him, so I don't think they have much of a choice. Yeah.
Anyone got to be better than that.
Is Titus Bramble available? Stick him in. It'd be a better option. And Komu Yol scoring from the penalty spot to win that game for Gangwon. So Gangwon win that game 2-1 away at Incheon. Incheon stay bottom on 2 points, and they've got an away trip to champions Jeonbuk next week, so it's not getting any easier for them. Gangwon end the weekend on third, capitalising on points dropped by Pohang and by Songnam, as we will come on to. Moving on to Saturday, 8:30 a.m. UK time, FC Seoul at home to Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors. This was the other big clash of the weekend. FC Seoul were in seventh after losing late on at home against Songnam last week. This is still a big team though. Jeonbuk, the champions, top of the tree, but coming off a 1-0 loss away at Gangwon. Title rivals Ulsan hadn't played yet at this stage of the weekend, so Jeonbuk needed a win to keep the rest of the pack at arm's length, and that's what they got. Like the other big match, this was another emphatic victory for the away team. Jeonbuk taking this one 4-1. Tom, what did you make of this?
Yeah, Jeonbuk were very good. It looks like they're really starting to find their groove. The first half was reasonably even actually between the two sides, but I don't know whether it was a rollicking or whether they just got into their stride, but Jeonbuk really stepped it up a gear in the second half. And yeah, Lee Dong-gook's holding back the years and proving he can still be a threat. He started the game. He's 41 and he's starting. So fair play to him. It was his header for the first goal that hit the post, and then Han Gil-won tapped it in, and then the Lion King himself got the third and fourth. It was to cap a fine display. It was lovely control and good finish, and then he actually celebrated by taking a knee. And after the game, in one of his interviews, he said that during his spell when he was playing in England and Germany, he faced some racism, and so he wanted to show his support for what's going on in America and around the world. So not only a quality player, but seems like a quality man as well. Jeonbuk were very good. Second goal was pick of the bunch for me. It was goes in as a goal of the season contender as well. It's absolute thunder bastard. 30 yards, top corner, Lee Sun-ki, very, very good. Actually, it was a game of good goals, because the former Arsenal legend Park Ju-young, he was a sub, came on in the first half, and made a quick impact. It was a good goal, card it in. He was inside the box, and he still managed to get it up and down. It was off the bar and in, but it just took forever to be awarded. And I didn't realise this, but there is no goal line technology in the K-League. They have use of VAR, but you don't have goal line tech, and so it took a solid, I'd say, 3 minutes or so to for the referee to decide it crossed the line. And I mean, it looked in live. You could tell from the first absolute most, the two replays to see that it was clearly over the goal, but it took ages. Very, very odd. The first couple of games of the season, we were a little bit down on Jeonbuk's performance, saying, sign the champions, winning when they weren't playing well. But yeah, despite it being a bit boring to see the same team win the league every season, they are just clearly the best team and top of the league on merit.
Yumi, what were your thoughts from this game?
Yeah, it looks like Jeonbuk is finding their groove. It took a while for them to get going, but I think we're seeing the kind of attacking classy Jeonbuk of last season. They look like the team to beat still. Lee Dong-guk is 41, 42 in Korean age, mentioned before, but I can't think of any other striker who would play into his 40s and still be scoring the goals. So he got all the headlines, but Lee Seung-gi's wonder goal I thought was the best of the bunch in that game. He should have got more headlines, but obviously it's going to be all Lee Dong-guk in Korea. So I felt sorry for him about that. I think he deserved more credit for that goal. I think it was a goal of the season contender as well. So, but Seoul, their defending was woeful, I thought. So they've got work to do on there, but Jeonbuk looks to be the team to beat still.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he might be 41, but you can't give any player that kind of space that the FC Seoul defence gave him. For his first goal, I mean, there was just nobody anywhere near him. For his second goal, actually, it was more his movement, which it was just a very quick. He went to go to one post and then he cut back inside and he got himself half a yard of space, and it's like, it is still that explosive movement that maybe you lose as you get older, but it's also just shows he's an intelligent player. It was just lost his defender, and that was all he needed. And the ball was slightly behind him, and he dug it out, and it went into the roof of the net. It was, decent finish, and life in the old dog. Yeah.
Yumi, I just wanted to ask you, with Lee Dong-guk. I mean, I don't like to, ask questions, end people's careers prematurely, or not even really in his case, but has he said how long he's going to go on for?
I think he just said still feels fit, and he hasn't really put like a time frame, but as long as he's feeling fit and still feels like he's scoring goals, then he's going to play. So we don't know really. He still looks like he's in his 20s.
Is he a very professional guy off the pitch?
Yeah, he's known to be very professional, a very family guy. I think we said before he's got 5 kids. He's like a national star at the moment because of the TV program with his kids that he's been into. And he does a lot of charity work with his family as well. They're known for that. He's known to be a very good guy on and off the pitch.
Yeah, he's definitely one of Korea's stars.
Yeah, I'm loving seeing Lee Dong-guk. I mean, like many British football fans, we only saw him from his ill-fated season at Middlesbrough, so it's been an absolute bonus to see him still banging in the goals in K1. So that was FC Seoul 1, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors 4. Seoul dropped down to 8th, Jeonbuk stay first. The other game taking place at Saturday 11 a.m. Was Busan iPark at home to Sangju Sangmu. Sangju were in 6th place with 7 points from their last 3 games, so decent bit of form for the Army guys. Busan were 10th, played some good teams and been quite resilient, but need to start getting the wins their fans feel their play has merited. This game finished 1-1.
Yeah, I only had a half an eye on this for the first 65 minutes because it was on at the same time as the East Coast Derby, which was a bit of a shame. But as soon as Ulsan went up 3-0, I switched over and then just saw, the first bit of action I saw was the most ridiculous of calamities from the Busan goalkeeper, Kim Jong-ho. He came out right to the edge of his box, but the side as well. So, it wasn't in front of his goal, but he came right to the side of his box. And it was a really simple ball just to pick up. And he the way, I think he must have thought his momentum was taking him out of the box, because he seemed to panic a little bit and then try and swing his body around so that his legs went out the box and his body stayed in. But in doing so, he let go of the ball. And Sangju's Moon Son Min just had a pretty easy tap in. And, the error from Kim has cost his team 2 points. It sees them stay winless down near the bottom of the table, and all just because he couldn't pick up a simple ball. I mean, it may be not as harsh as I was on the Incheon guy for letting his team down, but it's a pretty schoolboy error. And Yeah, I'd imagine his teammates feel pretty let down by him. Busan had taken the lead. It was a penalty. I don't know, probably 51-49. It was a penalty. Like if the ref hadn't given it and it had gone to VAR, I don't think he would have overturned his decision. If you see what I mean, I think the VAR was going to stay with the on-field decision, kind of like an umpire's call type of thing. Lee Jong-hyuk scored it straight down the middle. Busan could have scored a second, but Lee Dong-jun blazed over from inside the box, and that was just 2 minutes before Kim Jong-ho's howler, and that's it really. It's 1-1. Keeper letting you down.
Yeah, I think with Incheon's Moon Ji-hwan, I think everyone knows that he's not really good enough for the team. But I saw some of the reactions about Kim Jong-ho, the goalkeeper who made that howler, and it looks like he's usually the more reliable players in the team. And I think all the fans, even though it was a big mistake and it's lost them 2 points, I think all the fans are thinking he's made that one mistake. It was a big mistake, but it was more of a kind of accepting that mistake because he's usually like keeping them in the game. So a bit unlucky for him. It was sad to see Jung Se-jin being injured as well. He hasn't played, hardly played for Sangju Sangmu this season because of an injury, and after 5 minutes he was injured off. He's the number 7 at FC Seoul. He's usually the stars of FC Seoul, but because of this military business, he's at Sangju, but he's already injured again, and he's got a new nickname now. It's the Korean Hargreaves. Looks like it's going to be a bad one for him. So it looked like a bad injury. So I haven't got any updates on that one. 1-1 seemed to be a fairly even score. Lee Jung-hyuk, who scored the penalty for Busan, I remember him in the 2014 World Cup when he was called up and nobody had known who he was. There's always one player in the squad where the manager just goes, I like him, I'm going to pick him, but nobody knew who he was. And I remember him playing a few minutes in the World Cup as well. So he's become like a little bit of a forgotten man in Korea, but looks like his second goal this season, I think. So it looks like he's trying to get his career back on track at Busan. So
the Korean Theo Walcott then?
Definitely, yeah. That's what I was going to say. Kind of, he's the Theo Walcott. At least Walcott got a good career after that. But Lee Jung-hyuk has become a little bit of a forgotten man in Korea. But everyone's like, oh, he's actually still playing.
Very good. That game finished Busan 1, Sangju Sangmu 1. Busan stay 11th in the league. Sangju 5th, move up a spot, and they cement their place in the top half. So that's Friday and Saturday's games done. We had 2 games on Sunday, which both kicked off at 11 a.m. We're going to look first at Suwon Bluewings at home to Gwangju FC. Suwon were 8th, so pretty mid-table, 4 points from 4 games. Gwangju were 12th, 1 point from their draw with Ulsan. This was a game our experts, you guys, said Suwon really had to win. It's Suwon at home against the bottom team. Suwon really need a win. And I think we all picked this as a home win in our predictions, but it wasn't to be, as Gwangju shocked the Bluewings 1-0.
Yeah, Suwon did really need a home win, and I mean we've said it before. Is this the final game for the manager? But I don't know. They seem reluctant to sack him. But I only caught the highlights of this one because I was watching the Songnam Daegu game at 11. So why don't you tell us about this, Martin? I think you caught more of this than we did.
I did, yeah. I mean, first half kind of went how we were expecting, really. Suwon with most of the possession, Gwangju dropping quite deep, trying to hit Suwon on the counter-attack, which they did pretty well, to be fair, and they're regularly getting 3 or 4 men into the box, just lacking that bit of incisiveness with the final ball. This game was 0-0 at half-time, like the Songnam game, so it was looking like these games were just going to peter out into 0-0 draws. But again, like the Songnam game, it's in the second half that this game got interesting. Gwangju had a goal disallowed, in-swinging free kick from wide right. Then it was Suwon's chance. Terry Antonis, the Aussie midfielder, hit the post with a curling shot from outside the box. Rebound then fell to Adam Taggart, and he had the keeper sprawling at the goal at his mercy, but somehow inexplicably put it wide of the post. It was quite an unbelievable miss, really. I can only think he thought he was offside, but looking at the replays,
exactly when I saw the highlights, that was my first thought, was like, did he think he was offside, and so he just but yeah, I think we're being really generous to say that he thought he was offside. No matter whether he thought he was offside or not, he should be finishing that.
5 minutes on from that, it was Gwangju's chance. They almost scored from a corner with what would have been an own goal, which was cleared off the line. Then around 84 minutes, back to Suwon again, and it was their chance to have a goal disallowed, with Kirpich finishing off a counter-attack. Kim Min-woo, who was involved in the build-up, very good first touch from him, but he was fractionally offside. It was such a close decision. Looked like it was the right decision, though. And just when we thought it was going to end 0-0, in stoppage time, one final counter-attack by Gwangju, a long ball into the inside left channel, and Marcus Urena tracked it into the box. Questionable decision-making, I think, by No Dong-gong in goal for Suwon as he rushed out to try and intercept it. Urena held off the defender and managed to toe-poke the bouncing ball 5 yards onto the head of Felipe, who nodded into an unguarded net. Real kick in the teeth for Bluewings. This was the first time I'd seen Gwangju this season, so I'm claiming the victory for them on this one. Good to see them. Good to see them get off the mark. And Felipe, he had a good game, and he was certainly putting an effort in all throughout. So it's quite pleased for him to get the winner there. Yumi, what did you make of this game?
Yeah, I actually saw the final parts of it. I saw the goal, so as well. So I'm just thinking maybe I've got the good luck as well. But it was really good to see the Gwangju kind of players, the bench, all celebrating. It really showed how much it meant to them. It actually felt really real, even though that stadium was so empty. I could really feel like how much it meant to them. So it's good to see them off the mat. I think Suwon really had to win that one, so they're in big trouble at the moment. And not related to the actual game, but Suwon actually got some good comments about what they did before the game in the stadium. They had 22 national flags of the countries of the soldiers who fought in the Korean War, because it was the 70th year since the Korean War. So I thought that was a nice touch as well. And the fans have been saluting them, having a nice kind of gesture, but the result was really bad for Suwon. I don't know what's going to happen to him, saying the manager now.
I mean, we talked about him being on the hot seat. I mean, Yumi, in Korea, do teams, are they quick to fire managers? Are they quick to pull the trigger?
If it's like a foreign manager or a new rookie manager, then it would be easy to just fire someone and just get someone else in. But Im saying he's actually had a very respectable career in his playing days as well. He's coached at Suwon before as well, before he went off to work with the Korean National Football Association. So he's got a little bit of history there, and he's got the respect. And there's this kind of Korean culture where you have to kind of show respect for the elders, and especially someone like Im Sang, who played in like the Olympics. So he's got a very respectable kind of career. And I don't think Suwon are going to just fire him very easily. That's probably why he's still in the job, but it's not going to be easy for them to just fire someone like him.
Very interesting. So that game finished Suwon Bluewings 0, Gwangju 1, Suwon 9th, and in a bit of trouble right now. Im Sang, as we said, the manager is kind of already on the hot seat, and this won't help. So we'll see what happens there. Gwangju move up to 10th. Next two games against Busan and Incheon, which look winnable. Can they continue their good form? We'll see. Final game to cover this weekend, also kicking off at 11 a.m. Sunday, was Songnam FC at home to Daegu FC. Daegu were in 9th. They're the draw specialists of K1. Songnam were third, level with Ulsan, 1 point behind leaders Jeonbuk, and really looking to capitalise this game week. They had a winnable home game, and the other two teams above them, Ulsan and Jeonbuk, had difficult away games. As we said earlier, they both won. And in this game, Songnam took the lead, Tom, but it wasn't to be, was it?
No, it was a thoroughly deserved and much needed win for Daegu. They were the better team throughout, with Edgar and Cecilia the stars of the show. They actually, Daegu, this is, had the ball in the back of the net 4 times. 2 of them were disallowed, 1 for offside. Both goals for Edgar, and 1 was offside, and the other one was for a questionable foul in the build-up, but they didn't seem to have too much argument with that. The one that was offside, it was marginal, but obviously the right decision. But Edgar really could have just held his run that split second, and then Daegu would have taken the lead in the first half. As it was, it went in 0-0 at half time, and then Songnam, they had more of the possession, but I think the first half stats were something like 1 shot on target and 7, sorry, not on target, just 1 shot for Songnam and 7 for Daegu, something like that. And so it was a bit of a surprise to see Songnam take the lead, and it was a penalty. Yang Dong-hun scored it straight down the middle, roof of the net, good penalty, but it was a bizarre foul, because the attacking player was running out of the box and he got tripped, and the linesman was the one who flagged for it, I think, first, and the referee gave it, and they all gave it as a free kick, and then he just got a word in his ear saying, "Need to come and have a look." And because it was on the line, and the line is considered part of the penalty area, so it was a bit of an odd penalty, because there was no threat at all. But then Daegu came back, and Edgar scored a really good header, about halfway between the penalty spot and the edge of the area, so 14 yards out. Powered it into the back of the net. It was a free header, bad marking, but even still, like, to score from that range, with a header, normally the keeper would have time to make the ground up, but it was brilliant header, fully deserved equaliser, and Jong Tae-wook scored the winner from a corner, and it was another header. So questions got to be asked about the defence when you're conceding twice from set pieces. Daegu's first win of the season, and I think in general people thought they would be doing slightly better than they are, so they needed this win, and it was a really good performance, so I think it's going to see them push into the top half soon enough. Disappointing today from Songnam, but 8 points from the first 5 games is a really good start for them, so a bit worrying that they were outplayed today, but I don't think they've got much to worry about over the course of the season.
And Yumi, is this what are your thoughts on this? Is this the end of the Songnam fairy tale, or are we just starting to see Daegu showing their true colours?
I think all eyes were on Songnam, because Kim Nam-il actually won the Manager of the Month award in Korea. So I think everyone expecting Songnam to win, but fair play to Daegu. I thought they really deserved that win. It was also nice to see a little guard of honour for Songnam goalkeeper Kim Young-gwang as well, because it was his 500th K-League game. He's only the 5th player to do that. So I saw the Songnam players wearing a little T-shirt saying "Glory." That's his nickname, because Young-gwang literally translates to glory. And Songnam actually called this match the Glorious Day. It wasn't a glorious result for them. But I think both teams are going to do better. I think Songnam, they're going to be in the top half, maybe not challenge for the title, but I think they're the surprise package this season. And but Daegu definitely deserved that win.
So that game finished Songnam 1, Daegu 2. Songnam go down a spot to 4th, which is still very respectable, and Daegu go up to 7th. So how did we do with our predictions? Well, we had 5 away wins this game week in K1, which is unusual in any league. So Tom got 3 points, and Yumi, you and I, we both got 2 points. So where does that leave us? Well, Tom's doing a Jeonbuk. He's gone top with 12 overall. I've got 10, and Yumi, you've got 9. In terms of the proper league table, the K1 league table, Jeonbuk stay top, Ulsan stay second. Gangwon were the net beneficiaries of this weekend's games. They're now third. Beneath them, Songnam, Sangju Sangmu and Pohang Steelers make up the rest of the top half. Daegu join FC Seoul in that lower mid-table area. Suwon Bluewings in ninth, starting to look over their shoulders. Gwangju now level on points with Suwon, on 4 points there. Busan and Incheon only 1 point and 2 points behind them, respectively. In terms of the Golden Boot race, Junior Negrao at Ulsan, he's still in pole position. He's got 6 goals. 4 players now on 3 goals behind him, and these are 4 players to watch out for the rest of the season. Stanislav Ilyichenko at Pohang Steelers, Komu Yol at Gangwon, Lee Dong-guk at Jeonbuk, and Yang Dong-hyun at Songnam. Tom, Yumi, final thoughts on Game Week 5?
Something I noticed in the games this week, and I love, is the shithousery from the tannoy or the DJ or whoever the guy is. The home team's obviously in charge, and so when the away team gets a penalty, they crank the volume up with boos, and when the away team score, it's
Nice.
just silence. And I love it. It's taken a few weeks, but that made me laugh. And I noticed it was over quite a few grounds where they did that, and I was like, yeah, that's a good touch, because that's what it would be like if the fans were in there. So why not?
Yeah, it might be something that they even carry on doing even when the fans come back.
Yeah, possibly. I think once the fans are back in, we want less of the fake noise and more just the real sounds.
Yumi, any final takeaways from Game Week 5?
The teams at the bottom look in very big trouble. The top 2, Jeonbuk, Ulsan, look to be the team to beat. I think I kind of predicted this kind of league table from the start. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting league.
Very good, all falling into place. So that's Game Week 5, done and dusted. Lots of goals there, 18 goals across all 6 games, which is the most we've seen in a game week. We'll get onto our Game Week 6 preview in a moment, but first, here's just a reminder about our competition with Subside Sports. That's right, listener, it's competition time. We've teamed up with the lovely people at subsidesports.com, a UK-based company with a frankly amazing selection of football merchandise for national teams and club teams all over the globe. Whether it's current kits, retro kits, or general gear, they've got you covered. They also have some lovely K-League merchandise, and you can win a hoodie and t-shirt of the K-League team of your choice, courtesy of Subside Sports. To enter, just head to our Twitter page, at Gazzetta Korea, where you'll see our competition tweet. Here's what you need to do. Step 1, follow at Gazzetta Korea. 2, follow at Subside Sports. That's SUBSIDE Sports. And step 3, retweet the competition tweet with your favorite K-League team. Full info is on the tweet. If you don't have a team, check out the links in the tweet for Tom's team guide. Closing date is 2 p.m. Saturday 13th of June, so not next week, but 2 Saturdays' time. The winner will be chosen at random. So hit pause, get on Twitter, and good luck. Okay, let's look forward to Game Week 6. No Friday game this week, so the first game of the weekend, Saturday, 8:30 a.m. Ulsan Hyundai at home to Songnam. Ulsan hot off their derby win. They play host to surprise package Songnam. Bit of a blow for Songnam, losing at home to Daegu. Can they get anything at Ulsan?
Yeah, like you say, this game pits the team everyone expected to challenge Jeonbuk for the title, and Ulsan as well. No, obviously not. Songnam surprised us all with their start, but they were thoroughly outplayed by Daegu, and I think Ulsan win here for me as well. Just add in that, with Jeonbuk's form and how they played, I kind of feel that every game feels like a must-win for Ulsan. They can't afford to drop points, especially when they kick off before Jeonbuk. They need to put the pressure on.
Yeah, totally agree. Ulsan have to win at each game. Jeonbuk aren't going to lose many points from now to the end of the season. So they can't go through another dry spell with draws again. They have to win every game if they want to keep in touch. So Ulsan win for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go full house, Ulsan win. Draws aren't really too much use to Ulsan, so they might as well just go all guns blazing, I think. Very good. Saturday, 11 a.m., we've got Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors at home to Incheon United. Top against bottom, the unstoppable force versus the very movable object. Yumi, surely you can't be backing an Incheon win.
Yes, the head definitely says Jeonbuk, but heart says Incheon. I'll continue to back Incheon just to be the unique one out there.
I really hope you're not a gambler, Yumi, because your league table would read.
Not putting any money on that one.
I mean, if you put a bit of money on Incheon to win and it came in, you'd be winning quite a lot. But yeah, there's not much to say on this game. Obviously, Jeonbuk are going to win. They're in form. They're definitely the team to beat. Incheon were better, but they've got no chance.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jeonbuk at home, obviously, as well. Fingers crossed for Incheon, definitely, and that would be brilliant if Incheon did win, but hard to see that happening.
I would love them to win, I really would, but it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen against Jeonbuk, but I'll back them.
Saturday, 11 a.m., same time as that, we've got Sangju Sangmu at home to Pohang Steelers. Pohang obviously feeling a bit low after the Derby Day humbling. Sangju unbeaten in 4 games, albeit they have drawn the last 2.
Yeah, I mean, Pohang need a win, and I think they need a good performance as well. They haven't been great the last couple of weeks. So I think they need the win, and I think they need the performance, but I don't think they will get it. I think Sangju are decent. From what I saw against Busan, it wasn't their best game, but it's I think they're pretty even teams, these two, so I'm going to go with a draw.
Yeah, I was going to go for a draw as well. They look pretty even. Pohang, they impressed me in first few weeks, but they haven't really started up yet. So I'll go for a draw as well in that one.
Well, I'm going to stick up for Steeler Nation on this one. I'm going to go for Pohang. Also at 11 a.m., so 3 games at 11 a.m. there on Saturday. Suwon Samsung Bluewings at home to Gangwon FC. Suwon failed to score from open play since game week 2. Only Gwangju and Incheon have scored fewer goals than them. Gangwon are looking for 3 wings on the spin, something only Jeonbuk have done so far.
Yeah, I thought Gangwon were a little fortunate against Incheon. It was like Incheon lost the game rather than Gangwon won it. But I only saw the highlights of the Suwon game this weekend. But you know, Taggart can't score at the minute, and I don't think they've got any other threats. So I'm going to go with Gangwon away win.
Suwon, Gangwon. I think I might go for a draw in this one just because Suwon was at home, but I don't know how much that matters. But I think Suwon do need the points, so I'll go for a draw.
Well, I think I'm going to go for Gangwon away win. Just can't see how Suwon are going to. I mean, if you can't beat Gwangju at home, I'm not sure how they're going to do much better against Gangwon. So yeah, I'm going to go for a Gangwon away win there. Moving on to Sunday's games. Sunday, 11 a.m. Daegu FC at home to FC Seoul. Daegu are going to be on a high after their second half comeback away at Songnam. They'll be feeling confident at home against an FC Seoul team that have lost their last 2 games.
Yeah, I was going to go with a draw for this one, but then having watched Daegu today, and I thought Cecilia and Edgar played really well, and they linked up really nicely. They scored 2. It could have been 4 or 5. So and FC Seoul were poor against against it's Jeonbuk, but I'm going to go home win.
Yeah, I'm going for home win as well. I think Edgar and Cecilia, they're going to have a party against that Seoul defence. They looked woeful.
Yeah, Brazilian samba party, hopefully dancing their way through the hapless Seoul defence there. So, I'm going to go with you guys. I like the look of Daegu in that last game. So, home win for me. Also at 11 a.m, Gwangju FC at home to Busan I-Park. Big relegation 6-pointer here. Both teams have had 4 starts, but Gwangju now unbeaten in 2 and Busan unbeaten in 3.
Yeah, like you say, it's a big game at the bottom of the table. Busan were very close to a win this weekend, but for the cock-up from the keeper. So it's probably very frustrating for the manager, but like Yumi said, the keeper has saved them points in the past. So, maybe they'll they'll let him off this one. Gwangju were okay against Suwon. They got a late winner, so they'll be buzzing from that. But I don't think home advantage exists in these current situations. I think we actually see that in the Bundesliga as well. So I'm going to go for an away win. I'm going to say Busan to get their first 3 points of the season.
I'll go for a draw. It's not going to be one of the big games, but it's still a big game for both of them at the bottom of the table. I think they're both desperate for points, and I think they're pretty even at the moment. So a draw for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw as well. I think they're two teams who we've seen so far like to sit back and hit other teams on the break. And then when you've got two teams who like to play like that, it can end up a bit neither team wants the ball. They're trying to give the ball to the other teams and they can hit them on the break. So for me, that feels like a draw. In terms of our match of the game week to pick out as the one to watch, which one are we going to go for?
Well, for me, with no standout top of the table clash, there's no first v second type game. So Gwangju Busan for me, because it is so important for the two newly promoted sides. Yeah, we got Incheon propping up the table, but we all know Incheon's history of escaping relegation. So I think Gwangju and Busan are going to be down there come the end of the season. And I think this is a really big game for these two sides. And Gwangju were the runaway winners of K2 last year. And they are above Busan in the league at the minute. But I think Busan have looked the better of the two sides. It was a late win. Other than that, for Gwangju, Busan would still be above them. So, I think this is going to be a very interesting watch. It might not be the best game of football, most technical game, but I think it's going to be a good one to watch. Yeah,
sounds good to me. So there you go. That's our match of the game week. Gwangju at home to Busan. That's Sunday, 11 a.m. UK time. Two teams we haven't really spoken about too much on this podcast, so that'll be good to do a bit of a deep dive on those as well. Excellent. So that's our Game Week 6 preview done. We do have a listener question, actually, which we touched on a little bit already so far in this pod, and we mentioned the last pod. Nick from St. Albans, thanks for getting in touch, Nick. He's asked about nicknames. Are there any other good ones? This is off the back of our podcast last week where we were talking about the managerial battle between FC Seoul's Choi Young-soo, aka the Eagle, and his buddy from the national team, Songnam's Kim Nam-il, aka the vacuum cleaner, which I believe is because he's always cleaning up and not because he sucks. So it turns out Koreans go a bit nuts for nicknames, and I'll give you guys a chance to come in on this one. I'm just going to mention a couple that I saw just recently on Twitter, actually. Park Kyung-hoon, he's a retired right back, 94 caps, pacey attacking fullback in the 80s, at a time when that wasn't really so popular. So his nickname, according to Wikipedia, important caveat, is the progenitor of overlapping, which is quite brilliantly obscure. And the other one I've got is Cho Kwang-rae, who's also a retired midfielder from the 80s, 100 caps for the national team. He was known for his passing, his vision, his intelligence, and his nickname is the computer linker, which I thought was very nice. So even though that doesn't really make sense, if you know what I mean, in English, it still works as a nickname. You can still see where they're coming from with that. But I'm going to come to you next, Yumi, because you must have loads of these nicknames.
Yeah, we had a few. I also asked a few of my journalist friends in Korea as well, and they had some really interesting ones. First few Korean fans like to kind of play around with kind of European League players. So we've got Won Sang, who's called Salah, after Mo Salah apparently. Yam Ki-hoon of Suwon, he's been Yum Gigs for ages just because of his left foot and his ability of free kicks as well. And Hong Si-woo of Songnam, I think. He's the rookie 18/19-year-old in Korea. He's been called Hongshred recently after Rashford because of his speed. So they're very interesting.
need to be a little bit more creative than just sticking their surname with Giggs or Salah or Rashford. I think we can find some better ones than this.
Good stuff. Well, listener, if you know any, then by all means tweet us in at Gazzetta Career or email us at gazettafootballcareer@gmail.com. Yeah, thanks very much. That's us done for our Game Week 5 recap pod.
Martin, I can't believe we've gone a whole pod without you talking about the Gangwon kit. That must be a first. I thought you were going to mention it every week, how it's like a sunrise with the orange coming up. I don't know. You love it.
I do. Do you know what? I was tempted because they were playing Incheon. I do like the Incheon kit as well. Very kind of Inter Milan vibe. So that was quite a nice game just to watch with those two nice kits. But
I
thought they would.
Nicknames. Yeah, Incheon do go by the Nerazzurri as well. Blue black because of Inter as well. So there's a club nickname for you.
And talking of Gangwon, didn't you say before they've got a nickname?
They're called Potato FC because Gangwon is famous for its potato.
Potato FC. There you go. Yeah, kind of a bit like Spurs with being called Spuds, I guess, but obviously for a completely different reason. Cool, very good. I think we could do a whole pod on nicknames. Maybe we'll have to do that on the off season. Yeah. Cool, brilliant. So yeah, Tom Clark, Huyumi, Kamsahamnida, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
This is your host, Martin Jones, signing off for Gazzetta Football Career, the Beginner's Guide podcast on South Korean football. Look forward to seeing you next week for some more K-League action.